Aside from that, he is a man who is also a believer, and will be getting down to just why he's in the country, what his objectives are, why he's doing this, as well as the key issues that we can as well focus on. His name is Kofi Amoako Atta, and he is now in studio with me, the Chief Executive Officer of the same group of companies. Thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Okay, Cynthia, thank you very much.
Yeah, good to have you. And yesterday, Daniel was telling me coffee means Friday, actually.
Yes, that's true. Usually when you come to Ghana, people have local names as well as their Christian names. So based on the day in which you were born, I was born on a Friday.
Yeah.
So that's Kofi.
Wow, yeah. So quite the culture. You've been in the country for quite some time now. How are you finding Kenya? Kenya
is lovely. Before coming down, I was told that the weather was very cold, and I've been to Kenya a couple of times. I think this is like my 5th trip coming to Kenya. The time that I was young and in university, I used to come down to Kenya through ISEC. We come here and we go to the slums and we train people with regards to entrepreneurship. So that's what started this whole thing.
Yeah. And as an entrepreneur, you're the Chief Executive Officer of the same group of companies. Perhaps you can now tell us a little bit more about the company, what it deals with, as well as what it does in Ghana.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Thank you very much, Cynthia. So being an entrepreneur, same group of companies, it's a group of companies that has 6 companies underneath. We have a travel and tour called Sky Cloud Travel. That's one of the biggest travel and tours across West Africa. Our main focus is corporate clients, but for this year we've expanded. And we have different branches across Ghana too. Aside that, we also have CD World Transport and Logistics Company. It's a supply chain business in which we focus on staple foods like yam, plantain, in which we partner with a lot of farmers across Ghana. They grow them and we export them to other countries like US and UK. Yeah. The third company is also an IT company. It's called Sim IT. The purpose of that company and the reason why I created it was I realized that when you travel, I used to travel a lot. I go to the US and Dubai. I realized that internet connectivity is easily accessible by every Tom, Dick, and Harry. Yeah. However, once you get to Africa, internet is a big deal. So I want to bridge the gap, and I'm actually working to do that across Africa, not only Ghana. The fourth company is an NGO. It's called the Saint Foundation. I believe that in as much as a company is established to make profits, once the profit comes, you have to assign a portion of that profit to help people in society. The fifth company is Sim Ghana General Emirates Trading Company. It's a company based in Dubai, in which people who like to buy properties in Dubai across West Africa, we refer them. We've partnered with the biggest institutions in Dubai, Damak, Imar, and Shoba. And the last company is Lion Microcredit. It's a small-scale microcredit because, as I said, I believe in entrepreneurs and I believe in helping small business scale up. All
right, great. So quite a company that is vast, deals with a lot of things, and you are the group Chief Executive Officer. How is that? How is it, managing to connect all this together?
It's very, very stressful because it's 6 companies, and if you listen to what I said, they encompass different areas. And I think what has helped me was my background. I've had the opportunity. I started working with an oil company. Then I moved to KPMG. I was with KPMG for like 4 years. Then I traveled to Dubai, in which I lived in Dubai for like almost 5 years. I was working with Mondelez International. They are into all the chocolates, Toblerone, Cadbury chocolates, Oreo biscuits. So I started as a finance analyst for the whole of Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa, in which I was able to ascend the corporate ladder. So with regards to the work experience, I was able to build that, making right now, being the group CEO of such companies, a bit simple, not so difficult.
Yeah. All right, so now let's switch to why you're in Kenya, and you're doing a lot of humanitarian work, philanthropist, I could call you, as well as, just sort of being the finance and listening into a lot of entrepreneurs and just trying to help them also climb that corporate ladder, as you've said. So I'd love to know, where did this start? Because majority of times, a lot of CEOs, you'll never, or at least most of them, would never interact them at this particular kind of level. Mostly it's just their companies and other departments doing it, but you are doing it yourself. So how did this start? Where did it start from?
Okay, Cynthia, thank you very much. Traveling across Africa, I realized that there are a lot of youth who are very smart, but they need to get the opportunity. So as I said, one of my companies is called the Saint Foundation. It's something that we've been doing a lot. We've done it in Ghana, we've done it in Nigeria, we've done it in Botswana and South Africa. The last time I was in Kenya was in 2014. Previously, when I was coming to Kenya, I was just to train people and help unearth their talents.
Yeah.
But after building my company and being very successful, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I expand this across Africa? If I'm doing well in business as an African, I want to change the narrative. A lot of people have that mindset that, you know what, we always have to wait and let foreigners or whites come down to support us. But we have Africans here who are doing really well. And that's the whole essence and beauty of life. I always believe that if God should bless you as a human being, and if God should make your business successful, it's not only about you, it's a bigger plan, it's a bigger picture. So coming down to Kenya, the purpose was to come down and support a lot of people. Of course, in the long term, maybe we'll establish companies here and see how we can make sure that the support will be continued, not just a one-time kind of support. So coming down, I partnered with a lot of people here. We were able to come up with 9 NGO and charity organizations. And some of these things, we actually plan for them. I'm a finance person, so I'm used to budgeting and forecasting for the whole year. So we started planning for this from last year. In Kenya shillings, we were able to raise almost like around, and everything was coming directly from my company. No external donor, no external fund, but of course, through operations and through profits. We were able to raise almost, in Kenya shillings, I'll say around 3 million Kenya shillings. And it's beautiful, Cynthia. Like going around to some of these places, you see a lot of kids, orphans, and even widows. You know, the beautiful thing about it was that before coming to Kenya, we had this plan that we're just going to support the orphans, kids. But going around, especially in Kibera slum, we met a lot of aged people. And it's sad, but some of them, you talk to them and you realize that their story is this, that they have kids, but maybe the kids have left them or the kids have passed, and they are the only people. So some of them are grown like about 60. They are sick, there's no one to help them. So we've done a lot. The whole plan was this. We bought a lot of items and donated it to the orphanages and the NGOs. We split into 2. Coming down, I asked my team that what's the most popular or famous food in Kenya, and they said pilau. Because the kids love pilau because it has meat and stuff. So we divided the items into 2. So there was a part of the items that we're going to donate and give to them, and there was a part that would buy for the pilau rice. So we bought the rice, we bought the meat, we bought the cooking oil as well as some spices, and we had their pantry prepared that for them, and they were really happy. They were so excited. And going around and seeing the kids, it just brought so much joy to my heart. And that's the whole essence of life. Aside that, to most of the places that I went to, there was this challenge, because I always believe that in whatever happens, education is paramount. Most of the kids have a lot of arrears. So we've supported a lot of kids in Kenya, a lot. We went to the orphanages, they spoke to us, they told us that there are some kids that couldn't pay their school fees. Some of them had arrears. It was very simple. I told the leaders that, you know what, bring the bills from the schools. They bring it, we pay cash instantly. We make sure that it's sorted out so they can go back to school as soon as possible. Especially for the girls, the young girls. Because see, I have this problem. When I go around and I see very young, pretty girls, they need support. And they have to be in the boarding school system. When girls are in the slum and they don't have that support, they don't get that parental love, what happens is that they then start relying on young guys and end up getting pregnant. Teen pregnancy destroys their life, and it's a whole cyclical process. So I'm here to help people and transform lives. Aside that, too, in the Kibera slum, there's a program that we are starting off with. I want to see how the program goes. If it's successful, we plan on expanding it. Have picked 10 grown-ups. As I said, that was something that I planned, but based on interactions with them, 10 people who are aged. And we are, I think in Ghana, it's called NHIS, but in Kenya it's NHIF. Yes. National Health Insurance. Ghana is scheme. Here is fund. So I spoke to them, and as I said, yeah, aged, a lot of them get sick, they are home, no one pays for the hospital bills. So we are starting on with 10 people. We've paid for the NHIF for the whole year, for 12 months. I want to see how it rolls out and how successful it is. I've made this promise and commitment, and we've already made the full payment for that. I've made a promise to them and to the team that's organizing that if it's successful, if I realize it's helping a lot of people, I plan on coming down maybe in the next 3 or 4 months and expanding that from 10 to maybe like 100. But I want to start with 10. Aside that, in Kibera slum, speaking to some of the aged people, we also realized that some of them have good business plans, but the problem was capital.
Don't have funding.
Exactly. So we've started with a rollout program in which initially I wanted to start off with 20, but you see, there's an issue when it comes to funding people's businesses. And since I wouldn't be here, I was like, you know what, let's start with 4 to 5 people. So I spoke to Tom. He's the head of La Vie Foundation in Kibera. We are starting off with 4 to 5 people. I've given them the fund. The plan is that we'll give them the money at 0.5 interest rates. The interest that would accrue from the money would even come to me or my company, but it will help expand their fund.
Yeah, yeah.
So once they pay back within 2 months, we take another set, give them the same money, and they can establish their business and also grow. If that one too is also very successful, when I come back within 3-4 months, I plan on increasing that one to maybe around 1 million Kenyan shillings, just to support people. Because I believe that a lot of people here need help and that support, and that encouraging word.
Yeah. Now, I know you said you've been in the country about 5 times now.
Yes.
So I'd love you to take us back to the first time that you were in Kenya.
Okay.
And, you know, you are coming in now to launch or to flag off all these projects, whether it's, you know, the education part of it or the business part of it. What are some stumbling blocks that you ran into that for a moment you thought, oh, wow, it can be quite difficult to actually finance, you know, education for students or to finance businesses for people? So if you will take us back to that first time that you were in the country and that you are flagging off this project.
Okay, thank you very much, Cynthia. The first time I came to Kenya, I was blown away. I think I tell everyone that I meet that Kenya is like one of the best countries in Africa because I travel a lot. But you see, the problem is that ever since my last visit was, I think, in 2013, 2014. Ever since then, I think the pace of growth in Kenya has become a bit slow.
Slow.
That's my opinion. It's become a bit slow. But however, I think Kenyans are loving, they are very welcoming, and their character is very friendly. And the first time that I came to Kenya, I quite remember it was very, very cold. I've forgotten the precise month, but it was extremely cold. So before coming here, I was prepared. Like I geared my mind up that if I should come, maybe the weather would be cold, so I'll have to go and buy more jackets. Yeah, but coming here so far, the weather is perfect. It's sunny, and I've been able to go around Kenya. I think I love being in Kenya. I think Kenya has a bright future. The government has to step up. I'm not going to be too political though, but the government has to step up and help a lot of people because there are a lot of smart people here in Kenya. And they need that help, they need that support, they need that encouraging word. I keep telling people that, you see, when it comes to you being successful in business, it's not only about capital. Because one of my companies, Sky Cloud Travel, I was able to commence the business without capital. I started out in Dubai. And I believe that, you see, a lot of people don't get some of these things. When you want to become an entrepreneur, you just don't start overnight. You have to put in their work. I started building most of my businesses whilst I was working. So I'll be working from 8 to 5. Of course, if I say 5, that doesn't mean that I'm leaving the office around 5. So I could be in the office till like around 8 or 9 p.m. Yeah. But whilst I was working full-time, I had these businesses running on the side. And by God's grace, all my businesses are very successful. So I believe that we can change the narrative, not only in Kenya, because that's the plan. I came to Kenya from the eastern side. I started with Kenya because I've been to Kenya a couple of times, as I said. But I plan on expanding to other Eastern African countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, Tanzania, etc. But of course, if anything has to start, it has to start from my first love, that's Kenya. So I believe that Kenya, there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of work to be done. And I believe that through people like me, we can transform a lot of things in Kenya. Yeah.
And you know, you said you are currently working with about 9 non-governmental organizations. What about perhaps from, are there plans to expand this reach and also work collaboratively with the government sometime?
I always say I would like to work with the government because what I do is very important to me because I'm very, very busy. But I told my team that, you know what, if I'm coming down to support people here, I have to do it personally. Let me give you an example. Last 3 days, went to one of the organizations that we picked, and I made it very clear to the people leading them that, you see, there are some kids that I want to support their school fees, and it's not just a one-time thing. I want to make sure that I support it from now, from creche till they get to university level. So we picked 3 girls there who were very, very smart. They brought their results to me, and their results were really good. It was only one that had the results done because she lost her parents and some issues. But I spoke to her and I encouraged her that if she's ready to put in the work, we'll support her from now to university with everything covered. But when I went there, you see, I told them that I'm not just here to give you money and leave. I'll follow up with every single person directly. So I made them create WhatsApp group in which they would add the kids plus their teachers plus their parents. Every time after they are done, they'll post their results. If it's possible, maybe every 3 to 5 months, I'll speak to them. If need be, once I come to Kenya, I'll meet all of them directly and speak to them. Make sure that everything is going well. Make sure the funds my company is giving to them, they are direct beneficiaries. Because you see, I keep having that problem in Africa. You go around and you give people a lot of things, before you realize it doesn't get to the intended party.
Yes.
Maybe someone in the school will divert the funds or divert the things that you're bringing for the orphans to his house, which is very wrong. So, as an entrepreneur, I believe in some of these things. And it's not just about me going around sharing money or sharing items. But after I'm done, there's a direct communication, because I believe that these people are the future leaders, not only for Kenya, but for Africa too.
Yeah. Now, and I'm looking at the numbers, which are quite impressive, and some of the places that you have managed to visit. You visited Tunguma Children's Home, which has about 155 children. You visited Othaya Mahiga Children's Home. There is Kinunga Children's Home. There's La Vie Foundation, Ushirika Society, Exodus Self-Help Group, Mungo Self-Help Group. So it's quite a number of orphanages and children's home, and you know, self-help groups as well, which are in various parts of the country. And so how is it now coordinating from all these places? Because these are different places, different children's home, you're meeting different children, you're meeting different organizers and managers. How is it now coordinating from one place to the other? Okay,
so what I've also done is I have partnered with some few people in Kenya. I have some Kenyan reps, because I believe that once we are done, we'll have to go back to Ghana. And if anything, maybe it will take like 4 to 5 months. So as I was saying there, all the places, the people that we're going to support there directly, we create WhatsApp groups and make sure that they are on that platform. So if there's anything, at least once I'm even traveling in any country, I can be getting direct updates from them. That's the first one. Secondly, to my agents on ground, once we leave, I've delegated and I've made it very clear to them that they're supposed to be following up with all these people. Because what I'm doing is not just a 9-day wonder trend. It's something that we've done. It's very successful, as I said, in other countries like Ghana, Nigeria, Botswana, and South Africa. So right now we're in Kenya. And I want to make sure that it will be like a seed that will plant. Once we are done planting, I'll need people in Kenya to water that soil. Make sure that the seed can grow, germinate, and become a big tree. So it's something that we plan on following. With Tunguma, when I went there, it was in Nyeri. It was quite far. It was a 3-hour. That day, I quite remember when I go back, I was really stressed out. It was a 3-hour road trip. So I went with my team. It was a whole big team. And we had some other people there joining us, almost like, I think, 10 people. So it was actually a very big team. 3-hour trip, we were there for like almost 5 hours. Go back very, very late. As soon as I go back, I was tired. I just slept. However, when I went there, you see, Tunguma is a special place. It's big. It's on this big plot of land. And the people there are really smart. You see, I always believe in not giving people fish, but teaching people or showing people how to fish. Exactly. When we went there, I realized that they have cattle, they have pig, they have like livestock. And they also have this small farm that they are growing. Because they want to be self-sufficient. So one plan that I'm planning on putting in place for them is something that I'm working together with my teams that will support them. Because they complain about some few things. They complain about pumping water from the river, in which they need a genset generator, also the fuel or the diesel or the petrol cost. So it's something that we are looking at. We plan on helping them with genset that is so they can pump water into their poly tanks. So with regards to bathing and the usage of water wouldn't be an issue. The second one is also we being able to increase the livestock that they have. So they can grow them, the livestock will breed more livestock and they can expand. They can use that one to feed everyone. The third one is the agricultural bit. As I already told you, one of my companies, City World Transport, something that we are focused on. We have huge acres of land in which we partner with farmers. So I believe that Africa is blessed. We have the land, we have the resources. Africa is not like other countries. Africa just dropped a seed anywhere, go back, come back within like 2-3 weeks. You see a big plant. So that's the kind of plan and feature that I have for them, that will partner with them and support them with agriculture as well as livestock. They grow that and they become very self-sufficient with regards to food. So food wouldn't be an issue.
And you know, you're at a better position actually as a CEO of a group of companies that deals with various subsectors to actually perhaps also weigh in on. It seems as Africans, we are the most resourced country, but we just lack the knowledge on how to use those resources that we have, because I was speaking to Daniel and he said, you know, Ghana is one of the biggest producers of cocoa, and yet you don't manufacture your own, you know, chocolates. You have to now also import. So it's also like a business problem that we have, not just for Ghana, but also across other African countries. What is it that we're doing wrong?
I think, you see, the problem with Africans is that we are over-reliant on external parties, especially the foreign world and the Western world. And some of us, we want to change that narrative. That's why some of us, we are working really hard. The example you gave was a very good example. Let me throw more light on that for the cocoa beans. When you come to Ghana, we are the biggest producers of cocoa beans currently, globally. However, this is what happens. You come to Ghana. You know, I told you that I used to work with a company, Mondelez International.
Yeah.
Cadbury is a subsidiary of that company.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes. So all the Cadbury chocolates, everything goes through that company. So I understand the process. They've come to Ghana, or mainly Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, buy the cocoa beans, ship everything to UK or London or other places. They produce using the raw materials into finished goods. So they buy the raw materials for cheap, produce into finished goods, bring it back to Africa, and sell it for 5 times the price.
The price, yeah.
The problem is that some of these things, to tell you the truth, have been to a lot of plants. Because as I said, I started off by being the finance analyst for the whole of Eastern Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So I visited a lot of their plants.
Yeah.
The plants is where they produce all the finished products. I realized that, you see, it's not any technical thing. It's very simple. They can teach you, once you have the machines and you know how it functions, you can learn how to produce the finished goods. It's very simple. But the problem with Africans is that, you see, a lot of Africans want quick money. They don't want to go through the whole process. And people are also not ready to invest. When you are building a plant, you need a lot of money. And the other problem is that I've realized that, you see, access to capital in Africa is very, very difficult. I was talking to some Chinese. You realize that right now, when you come to this high influx of Chinese in Africa, in every African countries, and let me tell you why. I have a lot of Chinese friends who are doing big business in Africa, a lot of money, like millions of dollars. I spoke to them and they told me that this, Kofi, in China, I can go to my bank, just draft up any business plan. Loan is easily accessible. If I say loan, I'm not talking about maybe 1,000 Kenyan shillings. I'm talking about $50 million loan. Easily accessible. They'll give me interest of maybe around 1% to 2%. However, you wouldn't get this in Africa. Currently, in Ghana, if you go to any bank and you are going for a loan, the interest rate is hovering from 30 to 35% per annum.
Oh, really?
Exactly. It's so high.
Yeah.
It's so high because the inflation level in the country is really high. So something like that, it discourages a lot of business people. Because don't get me wrong, you see, I love Africans. Africans are very smart, you're intelligent, you have a lot of business plans. But the problem is the accessibility to the funds. So a lot of people have these plans, but once they go to the bank, imagine going to take loan for like maybe around $100,000, and they're charging around 30% per annum. Quite high. How much profit are you even going to make? So people are discouraged, and sometimes they get scared, like, you know what, how about if I go for the loan and I can't pay? I'll be in debt, and I have to sell my house. So that's one big problem. So it's something I'm working on. That's why we'll be having that entrepreneurship class tomorrow. We've done that. It's successful in Ghana. We've done that in Nigeria too. We want to start in Kenya. I want to meet a lot of people. We are starting off with 50 people. I'll meet them directly, have one-on-one discussions with them, see the kind of business plans they have. And to be honest with you, Cynthia, the kind of business proposals I'm having from some of the Kenyans, very smart, very, very intelligent. They say people have the plans, but see, the problem is getting the funds to support it. And government isn't supporting. That's one big problem in Africa. Government doesn't support. The banks also don't support. Yeah. So it's up to people like us. Of course, once God blesses us with the little that we have, also try and help people, and we expand little by little. I believe Africa will surely get there. Yeah.
And you know, as you said, one of the biggest problems is funding for a lot of businesses, because young people are very entrepreneurial, but they just don't know where to get started. Yeah. And that is why perhaps you're also having this particular training where you're meeting these business people directly. So this kind of approach, how different is it from what banks will do, or what circles will do, or what other digital lenders will do? What is so different about it?
Okay. Yeah. The main difference is this. With banks, their process is a bit cumbersome. If you are applying for a loan from a bank, some banks can even take up to 3 months. And they'll ask you for a lot of documents. Bring this document for collateral, bring this, bring that. In the end, a lot of people can't even provide all those documents. Aside that, it's a lengthy process. With my company, once we speak to you, you have a solid business plan, you're able to verify everything, you're able to put in safeguards. You don't need any collateral.
So what are the safeguards?
Okay, let me give you an example. Yeah. You come to me, tell me that you like to sell maybe like phones, but you want to buy the phones from Dubai, so you import the phones to Kenya from Dubai. Once they come there, then you sell. You give me your target market, you give me the kind of links that you've been able to create, the businesses that you've spoken to, the kind of contracts that you are writing, in order to make sure that once it comes, sales will move rapidly. Once you do that, we don't give you fiscal cash. So maybe you want to start off with 1 million Kenyan shillings. I'll only give you fiscal cash. What we'll do is that I'll understand your whole business process, sit down with my team, see where you are sourcing your items from. So we'll create a third party. As I said, we have some people in Kenya that we are already working with. We'll create a third party, and very soon we'll open one of my companies. We'll establish one of my companies in Kenya, the same group of companies. We'll register it here, just to make sure that all these things is very smooth without any issue or any delays. So we'll get a third party here. So let's say, let me use the phone example. You order the phone, the third party will receive the phone into his warehouse, keep the phone for you. Once you want to sell it, you place the order, they bring the phones to you, and it's dispatched to the person. Once the payment is made, the capital comes back to us, your profit comes to you. And we are going to do it in a way that if the Kenya bank, maybe you go to a bank and per loan, they are charging like, let's say around 10 to 15%. I actually don't know that the interest rate for Kenya now. Ours is very low. We'll give you from 0 to 2%.
Per annum.
Pardon me? Per annum, yes, for the whole year.
Yeah.
It's 0 to 2%. As I said, the 0 to 2% is based on the kind of business that you are doing. There's some businesses who will partner with you. If you are partnering with you, it's 0%. So you can grow. Because I believe that any business that is starting, there's no need for you to put a lot of cost or fees or interest on that business. Rather, you're supposed to give the person advice and help the person support and help the person with support so the business can grow. But Cynthia, let me chip this in. And let me make this thing really clear. See, a lot of youths have this mindset and it's limiting them. Businesses are available everywhere. You can establish, and I said this earlier, you can establish a business without capital. Right now, there are a lot of people, let me give you this example, YouTube. There are a lot of people who are into YouTube businesses, they establish that business without capital. But you see, the problem with a lot of African youths is that they limit their understanding, they limit what they can do in life, because everyone thinks that everything is revolving around money. Don't get me wrong, money is very important, because without money, it makes life very difficult. However, I want to encourage people and tell you that if you have any business idea or plan, there are a lot of things that you can do right now, not necessarily with 100% money. If you haven't got money, right now online, there are a lot of platforms you can go to do a lot of little things. You get money and you start building it up. So you can always start from somewhere. You don't always have to wait for someone like me to come and be like, okay, you have a business plan, okay, let's go to get 500,000 Kenyan shillings before you start. But you can start from somewhere, start doing something. And that's one focus area of the meeting that we're having tomorrow. It's not just about people who have a business plan, but people who've already started doing something. Because I always like to see that initiative or that effort coming from your end.
Wow. And I know we're almost out of time, so I'd love to give you an opportunity to also wrap it up. Should this particular approach that you're talking about be the future of business financing?
Yes.
Should it be?
Yes. Because that's what I'm trying to propagate across Africa. And I believe that with the help of God, would expand on this, would expatiate on this across Africa. And that should be the future. But as I said, there are a lot of people who are really smart and they need that help. Aside the financial help, aside the encouraging word,
mentorship also.
They need that mentorship. And something that we've been able to build. And I think it's been very successful in Ghana and in Nigeria. Most of the people that we are speaking to, you see, sometimes you talk to them, they come to you like, Kofi, I've been trying to do this business, it's not going well. And see, let me also make this thing really clear. That's the beauty of life. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Let me just make this thing really clear. Life is beautiful. Like, we have different sectors. We have someone who is a police, someone's a doctor, someone's a nurse. We have different fields. Some are meant to work with others. Some also meant to establish businesses. So it's about us. Once you come to someone like me, a seasoned entrepreneur, someone who has been in the field for quite some time, someone who understands how the field works, I interact with you, and I speak to you and I tell you the truth. There's some people, you can give them $1 million, Cynthia, they'll blow everything up.
Buy cars, buy houses.
Exactly. Someone you can give him $100. Come back in 3 months' time. That $100 will now be $10,000. So I believe in the future. I believe in Africa youth. I believe that there's a future for us, and I believe that by God's grace, this is just the beginning, and we'll expand and change that. And I can say that within the next 2-3 years, a lot of entrepreneurs, I'm sure within the next 2-3 years, I'll come back on this platform and will have empowered a lot of entrepreneurs across Kenya, across Eastern Africa, and across Africa.
All right, so as we wrap these conversations, perhaps you can also have the final word on the same group of companies which you say, you're trying to set up a branch of it in Kenya. But also, what will that mean now for these particular children that you're financing? So the final word as we wrap it up.
Okay, so the final word is that once we establish a branch of same group of companies in Kenya, a main focus of that is that we'll focus on all the orphanages and expand on it. As I said, we've currently started with 9. But I plan on expanding on the numbers. We plan on expanding, also having frequent follow-up on all the organizations to make sure that there's massive growth. All the people that we are supporting with regards to health insurance, with regards to support for their business, local businesses, with regards to payment of school fees, there will be a direct follow-up on that, because I believe that that's the corporate social responsibility of my company across Africa. I just don't want to limit it to only Ghana. So there'll be a direct follow-up and direct growth and expand. We can expand on that. Aside that, so once we create a branch in Kenya, we'll employ a lot of people here too. That's also another plan with regards to whether it's going to be full-time or contract staff. Also bringing more employment, because a lot of people are here who are really smart.
Yeah.
Give them something to do, something to grow on, and help change the economy of Kenya, help change the economy of Eastern Africa, help change the economy of Africa.
Wow. All right, thank you so much, Kofi Amoako Atta, who is the Group Chief Executive Officer of the same group of companies, which is Success, Imagination, and Motivational. That is same group of companies. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much, Cynthia.
And I also went through the effort of knowing when I was born, what particular day, and it was on a Sunday. Okay. And I believe my name should be Essie.
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
That's fine.
So thank you so much, Kofi Amoako Atta, for coming in to shed more light on your business and your humanitarian part of it, as well as the philanthropical part of it. And we're looking forward to having you back again when you come back, and I know you'll have moved to various levels. Amen. And we'll be able to talk about that as well. So thank you for your company. So ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere just yet. When we come back, we'll be talking to two little beautiful pigeons who are also humanitarians, girl child ambassadors and models, and they've impacted various people in the society. So that conversation also coming up after the break. Stay with us, don't go anywhere.
Thank you very much, Cynthia.